the NDC has noted with disgust attempts by the scandal-riddled Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government to cover up serious acts of corruption surrounding the dealings between a privately owned Ghanaian company known as Strategic Mobilisation Ghana Limited, SML, on one hand, and the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, on the other hand. These acts of corruption have arisen out of the award of certain illegal contracts by the ruling MPP government, acting through the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance. Thanks to a patriotic investigative work carried out by one of your own in the media, an illustrious son of the land, Manasseh Azuri Awuni, and his colleagues at the Fourth Estate, the underhand and shady dealings between the GRA and SML have been unmasked. Following huge public angst against the putrefying details of the Fourth Estate's expose, coupled with mounting calls by the NDC minority in Parliament, civil society organizations, and you, the media, President Akufo-Addo tasked KPMG to conduct an audit into SML's dealings with the GRA. After initial reluctance to make public details of this audit, the presidency last week published only portions of KPMG's investigative report on the matter instead of the full report. But the portions of the published reports have nonetheless raised several grave matters that border on naked corruption and abuse of the public purse. After a careful study of the Fourth Estate's report and the published portions of KPMG's report into this matter, we deem it necessary to highlight 15 incontrovertible facts about this stinking SML scandal, which are worth interrogating. Number one, SML was incorporated on 14th February 2017. This was barely 37 days after the MPP assumed the reins of power on the 7th of January 2017. The stated capital of the company is 10,000 Ghana cedis, and the paid-up shares of the company is 10,000 Ghana cedis. The shareholder and chief executive officer of the company is one Evans Edusei, who owns and runs Evans Timbers Limited. So these are the brief facts about the company we are talking about, SML. Number two, barely 4 months after the incorporation of SML, the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government, acting through the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance, sought to engage SML to provide transaction audit services at the port through sole sourcing. Between June 2017 and September 2017, the GRA made 3 separate requests to the Public Procurement Authority to engage the services of this 4-month-old company through sole sourcing. All these 3 requests were flatly refused by the Public Procurement Authority. Number 3, all these requests to the Public Procurement Authority happened at a time this 4-month-old SML, an offshoot of a timber company, had no prior experience in revenue assurance or transaction auditing. It goes without saying that GRA's request for approval to engage SML through sole sourcing were refused by the PPA because the request did not meet the mandatory requirements of Section 40 of the Public Procurement Act 2003, Act 663. Number 4, in furtherance of their questionable and unholy determination to engage SML through sole sourcing at all costs, the GRA, with the tacit approval of the Ministry of Finance, I must say the Ken Oforiatta-led Ministry of Finance, engaged SML through the back door as a subcontractor of a company called West Blue, which at the time was providing transaction audit services to the state at the port. SML was made to take over the transaction audit services of West Blue in December 2018 when the latter was kicked out. Subsequently, the GRA added external price verification to the contracted services of SML. Additionally, the GRA signed an agreement with XML for auditing in the downstream petroleum sector. We are talking about this company which only got registered on Valentine's Day, the first Valentine's Day after Akufo-Addo and the NPP became president, 14th of February 2017, and had no experience whatsoever. Till date, the Ghana Revenue Authority remains the only customer, I repeat, the only customer of this company we call SML. Number 5, it is interesting to note that the managing director of SML, one Christian Tete Soti, was the technical advisor to the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, who left his job at the GRA to manage SML immediately the company commenced the implementation of its contract with the GRA sometime in 2020. So this Christian Tete Soti has been Controller and Accountant General for Ghana before. In the mid-2000s, he got retired and was appointed as a technical advisor to the head, the Director General, or if you like, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. When the GRA was making frantic efforts to engage SML through sole sourcing, this man, Christian Tete Soti, was a technical advisor to the Commissioner General. Immediately SML got a job, he resigned from his role as technical advisor at the GRA to go and work for SML as their managing director. This fact raises serious issues of potential insider trading, which are worth proving. Number 6, it is instructive to note that all these 2018 to 2019 transactions between the Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government and XML were done in violation of the Public Procurement Act, the GRA Act, and the Public Financial Management Act of 2016, Act 921. This is because the agreements did not go through the mandatorily required procurement processes. No approval was given by the PPA for SML to be engaged through sole sourcing, either for the transaction audit services agreement or the price verification agreement, the standard price verification agreement, or the downstream petroleum audit services agreement. None of these agreements went through the laid down procurement process. Neither were they approved by the board of the GRA, as required by the GRA Act. Additionally, the agreements were not approved by Parliament as required by Section 33 of the Public Financial Management Act relating to multi-year commitments. Number 7, sadly, the irredeemably corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government has paid a staggering, a colossal 1,061,054,778 cedis to SML under these illegal contracts from the taxes of suffering Ghanaians. This fact is contained in sections of KPMG's investigative reports published by the presidency. We are not making it up. This is contained in the press statement which was issued by the presidency. It has been established, that's number 8, it's been established beyond every reasonable doubt both by the Fourth Estate and KPMG, that no needs assessment or value for money assessments were done before these illegal contracts were signed. Clearly, some people simply sat down and designed this sleazy scheme. Even more bizarre is a finding by KPMG that SML was not able to provide a scintilla of evidence. They were not able to provide any supporting documentation and relevant information to substantiate the investments they claim to have made. Number 10, the public sections of the KPMG report clearly indicate that SML partially underlined, partially delivered on its illegally contracted transaction audits and price verification services, and that the state did not derive the full benefits of the payments we made to SML. This is contained in the KPMG report. Also, it has been established beyond every reasonable doubt that the illegally contracted price verification services that were offered by SML were duplicitous, as Ghana's existing integrated customs management system, ICOMS, already has inbuilt capabilities of external price verification. Number 12, the downstream petroleum audit agreement has been found by the Fourth Estate to be duplicitous. So we are talking about three different agreements. The first was a transaction audit agreement, which was awarded to SML for them to do other ports. They made a request to the PPA for approval to engage them for this service through sole sourcing. It was refused. They then decided to impose SML on West Blue through the back door without going through the public procurement process. And when West Blue was kicked out in December 2018, SML now took over the transaction audit services of West Blue at the ports. Then after this, subsequently, they gave SML another contract, another task, which is external price verification also at the port, which contract or engagement also did not go through the public procurement law. Neither was it discussed by the GRA board or approved by Parliament. Then again, they decided to award them another contract, which is auditing in the downstream petroleum sector. That also did not go through the procurement process, neither was it approved by the GRA board or by the Parliament of Ghana as required by law. Now, the KPMG report says that the price verification contract was not performed by SML fully, but partially, and that we did not derive the full benefit from the payments we made to them. They have said the same about the transaction audit. And they have said that with regards to the price verification contract, it was duplicitous because we have a system called ICOMS, Integrated Customs Management System, which can do exactly what SML was doing, for which they were being paid. So these are the three different illegal contracts we are talking about. Now, in the case of the downstream petroleum audit agreement, the Fourth Estate has found that superior and comprehensive revenue assurance measures have already been introduced by the regulator, the National Petroleum Authority, to curtail revenue losses in the downstream petroleum sector. This fact has been corroborated on video by the MPA, an IT guru of SML, and several industry players like ASEP and what have you. Number 13, it has been established by the Fourth Estate that the Ghana Revenue Authority and the National Petroleum Authority do not use SML's data for revenue collection in the downstream petroleum sector. This calls into question the relevance and usefulness of the illegal downstream petroleum audit agreement of SML and the outrageous payments it has received from the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government. Number 14. Till date, the public is yet to be showed any evidence that SML has detected any case of under-declaration or under-reporting or dilution or diversion since it started executing its illegally contracted downstream petroleum audit agreements. Number 15, claims by SML that its services have stopped malfeasance in the downstream petroleum sector and have saved the nation 3 billion Ghana cedis has been established to be palpably false. In fact, SML itself recanted this false claim after it was exposed by the Fourth Estate. So these are the 15 material facts that we wish to highlight today for those who have heard about this SML scandal but do not really understand what it entails and what this scandal is about. Distinguished friends from the media, in view of the foregoing material facts, it is unconscionable and, in fact, defies common sense for the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government to say that, quote, there is a clear need for the downstream petroleum audit services provided by SML, unquote. Let me state unequivocally that the NDC is not in principle against revenue assurance, whether in the upstream petroleum sector or downstream sector or at the ports. We are not in principle against revenue assurance. What we are vehemently against are revenue assurance transactions that are awarded in contravention of the laws of Ghana and the payment of outrageous fees under such illegal revenue assurance transactions. What we are vehemently against are illegal and duplicitous revenue assurance transactions that offer no value for money for the state. SML's downstream petroleum audit agreement, ladies and gentlemen, just like their transaction audit agreement and external price verification agreements, has been established beyond every reasonable doubt to be illegal, duplicitous, and totally useless. The claim by government that the state has benefited from the illegal downstream petroleum audit services of SML simply because of an increase in petroleum volumes by 1.7 billion liters and an increase in tax revenue to the state to the tune of 2.4 billion Ghana cedis as claimed by government is ridiculous, to say the least. That claim, with all due respect, defies common sense. It should be obvious to every discerning mind, ladies and gentlemen, that the increased petroleum volumes and tax revenue recorded by the country in the downstream petroleum sector are attributable to the general increase in petroleum consumption and the prices of petroleum products. There is no concrete evidence, I repeat, no concrete evidence that shows that the recorded increases in petroleum volumes and tax revenue in the downstream petroleum sector are wholly or partly attributable or correlated to the work of SML. Indisputable data published by Imani Africa show clearly that the rate of increase in petroleum revenue has virtually been the same before and after SML's illegal entry into the downstream petroleum sector. Ladies and gentlemen, assuming without admitting that the claim by government that revenue in the downstream petroleum sector has gone up, volumes have gone up, and that is attributable to SML, assuming without admitting that all these claims are true, assuming without admitting that SML's illegal audit services in the downstream petroleum sector have had a bearing on the increased tax revenue recorded by the state to the tune of 2.4 billion Ghana cedis, how does that justify the payment of a whopping 1,061,050,000 54,778 cedis, constituting nearly 50% of the revenue increment of 2.4 billion to SML. So you engage a company, and you say that the engagement was illegal, it violates the procurement law, it violates the Public Financial Management Act, it violates the GRA Act, making it criminal. Then you turn around and tell us that, oh, the agreement has benefited the state, even though it is illegal and criminal. And so we should allow them to continue the implementation of the agreement. Why? Because you claim that our oil volumes have gone up and revenue have gone up. Meanwhile, you are not able to tell us exactly what this company did, which led to that increase in revenue and volumes in the downstream sector. Are we all not in this country? Haven't we seen governments imposing taxes on fuel? You have imposed a 20 pesos energy sector levy. You've imposed boiler tax on fuel. So if you are imposing taxes on fuel, won't petroleum revenue go up? If you are increasing the prices of petroleum products, won't the revenue we get from that go up? Is this not common sense? And yet they want us to believe, because they think Ghanaians are gullible, that revenue is going up because of SML. And yet they are not able to tell us exactly what SML has done, which has led to this revenue increase. And when you look at the data, it shows clearly that the revenue in the downstream petroleum sector was already on an upward trajectory before SML even entered the market to do this so-called work they are talking about. In any case, how do you ask a company to continue the performance of an agreement which is illegal and criminal? But they say, oh, revenue has gone up. And the question we are asking is this. You claim that that revenue which has accrued to the state is a total of 2.4 billion cedis, which we say is not attributable to SML, but attributable to the increase in petroleum consumption and the prices of petrol. But let's even assume that you are right, that it is attributed to SML. So a company comes to help you to collect 2.4 billion, and you dash the company 1 billion. Does this make sense? In which serious country can this happen? You help the government to collect revenue of 2.4 billion, and your share is 1 billion. Is there any company in the world that collects such an outrageous fee? So clearly, the justification being mounted by government is patently flawed on the basis of that publication from the presidency itself. And we are asking, ladies and gentlemen, what exactly did SML do to deserve such a gargantuan fee? This is simply incredible and defies logic. It is evidently clear, friends from the media, from the above enumerated facts, that the justifications being mounted by government for the continuation of SML's downstream petroleum audit services are completely untenable and hogwash. No patriotic Ghanaian or discerning mind will support or justify this unconscionable nation-wrecking transaction. It will only take a corrupt, reckless, and irresponsible government to entertain such a colossal ripoff. Such farcical and contrived justifications must be treated with utmost contempt. In conclusion, friends from the media, it is an indisputable fact that the transaction audit, external price verification, and downstream petroleum audit contracts entered into between the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government and SML are unlawful. There is no debate about this. I watched their PRO on Newsfile over the weekend, gasping for breath and struggling to answer simple questions. She was asked whether the award of contracts to them were approved by Parliament. She said she's not a lawyer. Must you be a lawyer to know that an agreement has not been approved by Parliament or has been approved by Parliament? There is no debate about that. The NDC is therefore of the considered view that these illegal transactions are duplicitous, needless, useless, and inimical to the interest of our dear nation. The payments that have been made by the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government, totaling 1 billion Ghana cedis and over to SML are thus illegal. Those who sanctioned those illegal payments have occasioned a huge financial loss to the state. We in the NDC are appalled, but unsurprised, by the decision by the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia NPP government to allow SML to continue the performance of their illegal downstream petroleum audit services, while merely recommending the termination of the other unlawful contracts. This is the greatest abatement of crime, yet again, by the ruling New Patriotic Party, and goes to fortify our suspicions that this scandal was cooked at the highest echelons of power. Ladies and gentlemen, the refusal of the corrupt Akufo-Addo-Bawumia NPP government to publish the full KPMG investigative report on this matter, and their decision to allow SML to continue performing their illegal downstream petroleum audit services, reaffirms government's ploy to cover up this damning and sleazy SML scandal. And this is symptomatic of the well-established practice of rampant corruption, sordid cover-ups, and the culture of impunity we have witnessed under the watch of President Akufo-Addo, the chief corruption clearing agent, in the last 7 years and over. At a time Ghanaians are faced with unprecedented economic crisis and excruciating hardships, the least duty bearers can do is to use the meager resources of state judiciously and for the benefit of the people. Yet the NPP continues to plunder the state and the national coffers with brazen impunity. Ladies and gentlemen, the colossal amount of money which has been doled out to XML under their illegal contracts by the nation-wrecking Akufo-Addo-Bawumia NPP government could have been invested in social infrastructure or job creation ventures such as capital for businesses. It could have been invested in enhancing the quality of education, the quality of healthcare delivery in Ghana, and other productive sectors to improve the livelihoods of suffering Ghanaians. Sadly, my brothers and sisters, all these monies have gone to line certain private pockets due to the unbridled greed and selfishness of certain elements in the ruling New Patriotic Party. How long will the NPP continue to plunder the state at the expense of the already impoverished Ghanaian people? What crime has the Ghanaian taxpayer committed to deserve this level of wickedness from Akufo-Addo and Bawumia? Ghanaians have had enough of the naked thievery and wanton abuse of the public purse by the corrupt Akufo-Addo-Bawumia NPP government. Today you go to major hospitals in Ghana and they don't even have simple X-ray machines. Go to 37, they don't have functioning X-ray machines. Yet when people get accidents in Accra and this environs, that is the hospital we send most of them to. You go to the dialysis center, they don't have basic supplies. Only last year, that center had to be shut down for 6 months, leading to the avoidable deaths of 17 innocent Ghanaians. Because President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia said they can't afford 4 million Ghana cedis to clear government's indebtedness. Yet we continue to see them abusing the public purse, stealing from the public purse, like there is no tomorrow. Not too long ago, we called you here to address you on the 153 million cedis they paid under the stinking Ejapa scandal, which got botched midstream and which did not accrue any value whatsoever to government. 153 million cedis, equivalent to 1.5 trillion. An agreement signed in contravention of the laws of this country cannot stand the test of law in this country. And therefore, any payments made under these illegal agreements must be retrieved. Our courts have had the opportunity times without number to pronounce on this. This is the same reason why the court asks for the state to retrieve money paid to Oyome, Waterville, Isofoton, and so on, because they were paid under unlawful agreements. Number 3, the NDC demands the immediate publication of the full KPMG investigative reports on the dealings between SML and the GRA. Mr. President, why are you hiding that report? That report was conducted by KPMG, put together by KPMG after their investigations, at the expense of the Ghanaian taxpayer. KPMG did not do that work for free. They were paid for that work, and they were paid with our monies. So why are you keeping that report like a CIA confidential report in your drawer at your office? What do you have to hide? What are you trying to conceal? Publish that report now. You who once bragged about being an anti-corruption crusader. We want you to live up to that. Publish that report. We want to know what is in the report. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC also demands the immediate arrest and prosecution of all persons involved in the award of these illegal contracts and the payment of these illegal fees to SML. We wish to reiterate the position of our flag bearer and leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that the next NDC government will not recognize the illegal contracts entered between SML and the Akufo-Addo government upon assumption into office on the 7th of January 2025. When elected into office, we shall launch credible and transparent investigations into the stinking SML scandal with the aim of retrieving for the state all illegal payments made to SML and ensuring the prosecution of all persons who are complicit in these illegal transactions. You see, while in opposition, sole sourcing was tantamount to corruption, according to the MPP. Procurement breaches were considered an abomination by the MPP. Indeed, since assuming office in 2017, the Akufo-Addo MPP government has prosecuted several persons for alleged procurement breaches and other statutory breaches. Some of these people are languishing in jail today. In fact, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, was removed from office, if you would recall, on grounds of alleged procurement breaches. Ladies and gentlemen, this standard of accountability cannot and will not be any different for members of the ruling New Patriotic Party who are responsible for the sleazy SML deal and other corruption scandals. The NDC is committed to promoting transparency, accountability, and value for money in all government procurements. As a running mate for the 2024 elections, the Venerable Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman indicated in her erudite and inspiring speech last Wednesday, anyone who has participated in the plunder of the state will be held accountable. Quote, "This is not a threat. It is a promise, premised on the wishes of our citizens across various political and social divides, and hinged on the principle of accountability," unquote. Thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen.
For more news, please visit our website, graphic.com.gh, or follow us on Facebook at Daily Graphic and on YouTube and Twitter at GraphicGH.
Subscribe now.